about the subject, but fifth, you can turn again. List Scoggin and Les Green hate your position. Les Green was probably meowing. She has an 80% female team. Clearly, his method is wrong, even if the movement is right. But six, you can turn again. He's never going to be meeting problems. Remember, he said part of voting for him was the fact it's going to affirm the problems he makes in his firm case. Part of that is expanding the role of women in the TOC. He just beat a woman in the bid round who would have gone to the tournament of champions, which means he's not actually following through by promising equality and more rounds. So you're never going to actually be voting for him. But second of all, you can turn this argument. He's proven that he's just using a tool because he always flips negative instead of voting affirmative, which would allow us to have more discussion and debate because he would have introduced these arguments into the affirmative case. So there'd be at least 9 more minutes of discussion. Shows that he's not actually doing this. Even if you like his position, you should vote him down in order to make him change the position because you'd reproduce something better. But if you can reproduce my position instead, then now just want the affirmative case go to the NC. Starting at the very top about subjectivity, there's always going to be different degrees of subjectivity. For example, you simply choosing who you like best and you trying your best to be objective are going to be different. As far as that's where it's always possible to vote off your flow. That severs the link to you simply voting off whoever you want to. You actually need to vote off arguments.
I have 4 prep left. Cool. What was the 6th argument on the...
The 6th argument was a turn. You're voting negative. You're not voting negative. You're flipping negative every time.
No, that was 7.
That was 7? Oh, cool. The 6 is that Lexi Green hates you.
That was 5.
Was the 6 about the physical disruption of plans? About how
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
All right. The 6th argument is that you beat a girl in the bid round, which means you're not following through on your promises.
Okay.
Good. Sorry. That marks as an 8.
That's all right. Can I use your card?
Yeah. Right? It just makes people think of it as a position to block out against, right?
Yeah.
And that's confirmed by me and what I just did.
Yeah. What's the warrant for white cheese off your mind?
Oh, it's that their ballot says they can only vote
okay.
for people who are debating.
Yeah.
This isn't debating.
So I'm going to start on the first off, then the second off, then the MC, and like both his response and some extensions. Then after I deal with flow issues, I'm going to talk about issues that I think are important. You're welcome to flow it, you're welcome to not. It's up to you. So yeah, starting with the first off. All set? On Keller first, most rounds still are about the topic. Like I'm not completely destroying critical thinking in the debate. There's like people can't always run this position because it's checked back by the benefits that like do exist about talking topical debate. There's like people can only run this kind of position if there is a significant problem in the debate community like the one I'm talking about. But second turn, I'm increasing critical position by making increasing critical thinking with my position because I'm making everybody think about these issues. That is an important thing to be thinking about rather than just talking about the same stock issues every round. That everybody has these like pretty much the same positions on this topic. Jordan has a very stock AC. I'm having people think about something that's new. But third turn, I'm increasing critical thinking by like pushing the boundaries of what debate is. So that's going to create more thinking about the nature of debate itself. But then on the weighing analysis, it like he says that like it's outweighed because like there's tangible benefits. With the MC is tangible benefits. So I'd say I'm outweighing because it's like talking about increasing participation in debate for female participation in debate, which is going to be more important because it's like actually helping people get into the activity. Then go to mu. First turn at like the adversarial system of debate means that like we're not going to be as tolerant as he's claiming we are because when you debate, like you know this is true in real life, when you have arguments, you just get re-entrenching your own position more, not necessarily more tolerant. But then on Mitchell, then second, you can extend and cross-apply the Mitchell 2 analysis, which is that you use debate and fiat as a political crutch, so you don't actually have to really change in the real world. So even if you become tolerant of more positions, you're not actually going to act on them. Whereas if you're voting for things like my position, you're creating more real-world change. Then go to the second off. On the first argument about like people blocking it out, first people don't always agree with the arguments that they're making in round. Like people all the time make arguments they don't agree with. So just because they're blocking it out doesn't mean they're not going to agree with the case. But second turn, but like if they do then start to like believe my position, that like position is only going to be strengthened in their mind because they had to argue against it and then still concluded that it's a good thing. On the resentment arguments, first, I'm sorry if he like resents this position. I just wanted to get that out there. But then second, like at least people are going to think about these positions, even if they're going to end up resenting me or like resenting me for it. At least they're going to have to think about this position. But third, nobody resents the issue. They may resent the case, but nobody resents the issue. Pretty much everybody agrees, like who has taught, like listened to this case, thinks that the issue is important. Then on the number 3 about T being a priori, his only argument is that the role of the ballot being the better debater. But the better debating doesn't necessarily mean better like flow games. Better debating can just be who you think has a position that is more deserving of reproduction. And moreover, like this is not a warning. He just assumes that this is what better debating is. There's no reason as to why T is a priori. On the number 4 and the number 9. Firstly, just note that you can group this with any other arguments about like neutrality. First, me winning rounds is going to be a good thing because people have to think about it more, and they have if they're going to prep it out. If I'm just losing this round, people don't necessarily have to take it seriously. At VBT, when I didn't do that well, people didn't take the case that seriously. But when I beat Jordan and bid at Stanford last week, there's been a ton of online discussion. As of this morning, as of yesterday, this is the second most views thread on LD debate. Is this position? People have to think about it because I'm winning rounds. But second, even if it's not good in that sense, by having me do more rounds, there's a better chance that I'm going to be debating in front of somebody who doesn't necessarily agree with this position and is going to be forced to listen to me talk about this for 13 minutes. That's going to be a really good thing. Then on the number 5 about Liz and Lexi hating this, first, there's absolutely the only argument is there's absolutely no impact to this argument. There's no reason as to why Liz and Lexi hating this is a bad thing. Then go to the number 6. He said that I'm not following through because I beat a girl. The argument is about equity, not about equality. I'm not saying that we should have as many girls as possible win rounds. I'm just saying that they should have an equal opportunity to win rounds. And Alex had a perfectly equal opportunity to win that round. On the number 7, I'm flipping neg. The reason that I flip neg is because that way I have time to cover the flow and then talk about issues that I think are important. Otherwise, I don't really have that much time in the 1AR to do that. On the number 8, about reproducing the AC, that's fine. If you think that it's more important to reproduce the AC than my position, you're free to vote for him. On the MC. His only argument on fine is that there are degrees of subjectivity. That's fine, but this is a distinct argument from the this is a distinct level from the arguments about what the role of the ballot should be. So even if you're buying this, that yes, there can be an objective evaluation. He's not providing you with an objective evaluation. I'm going to be winning that the role of the ballot is whoever has a position that is more deserving of reproduction. If you think that okay, fine, it won't be subjective, but there is no objective standard. So your only choice is to win subjectively in terms of what you think is the position that is more deserving of reproduction. Then you can extend the Mitchell 3 analysis, which goes conceded, which says that which is that by voting for me, you're creating a positive expectation that I'm going to create change, which is going to create change in the real world. This coupled with the fact that he's conceding that ethical obligation to promote a better world, to concede obligations to the flow, means that even if he's winning other arguments in this position, this is going to in the block or in the off case, this is going to outweigh because you're creating a better world through voting for me. Moreover, this even if you don't necessarily think that I'm winning on the flow, if Jordan has some small argument that he's winning on the flow, you can still feel comfortable voting for me if you think that what I have is more worthy of reproduction because that's your ethical obligation to the real world. But second, you can extend the argument that the ballot has to determine the better debating. The better debating is the person has a position that is more deserving of reproduction. So if there's also so that's another reason as to why the ballot should be whoever has a position that is more worthy of reproduction. So this is part where we can stop if you want. I hope you'll agree with me that the debate is dominated by men. The Griffin and Rader analysis is showing that this happens at a numbers level, first in terms of the initial exposure, and second in terms of the stereotype threat self-perpetuating this problem. Then the Larson and Vreeland analysis is saying that even if the numbers are okay, this problem is exacerbated through the very structure of rounds and the socially accepted norms of who can interrupt whom in cross-examination. These are problems with the activity that we need to try to solve. I give some suggestions at the bottom. These are not the solution by any means. If anybody here has some ideas as to what we can do to try to combat this, please come talk to me after the round, or come talk to post something online. Talk about it in public. I'd love to hear this. I'm sure other people would like to hear your suggestions. I do propose a few ideas, things like moving away from IR topics on the TUC, things like having more female judges and coaches and lab leaders, things like having more cases, whether pre or post fiat dealing with women's rights issues, and things like subverting the performance of binary gender. Listen, I'm very clearly winning what the role of the ballot is. He's conceding a couple arguments from the top of the MC. It's very clear what the role of the ballot is. At that point, if you think what Jordan is doing is important to be reproduced, you can feel free to vote for him. But if what I'm doing is you think is important, if these issues resound with you, vote for me so that I can debate this in the next round, debate this in the future, have this issue to talk about.
I had two good things.